Hi, this is Sean from Rubus Solutions. Welcome back to the Google Apps Migration Workshop. This is step 4 of the process. So let's go ahead and take a look at the steps we're going to cover today. The first thing is the one-time switch to Google Apps. We're going to make some configuration changes to the MX records. We're also going to configure Postini message security. And next we're going to take a look at the existing migration of your email, calendar, and contacts. And then lastly, we'll take a look at third-party application configuration. Right, so let's go ahead and get going with the MX record changes that we need to make. The first thing you'll want to do is log into your Google Apps dashboard, and on the dashboard there you can see we'll navigate to the Activate Email link. And changing MX records, make sure that you review these instructions and the details, what is actually going on here. We're actually rerouting the email from your hosting provider to Google Apps servers. So they have some instructions for you here specific to the hosting provider. But the important thing to point out on this page is the priority host name, the mail server that we're going to be using, and then the TTL value. This information you'll need to capture and head over to your hosting provider. And then at your hosting provider, what you'll want to do is navigate to your mail exchange or MX record entries, and you will probably have a couple there, if not more. We're going to go ahead and add a new record. This is using the information that Google provided, the host name being @ and then the address of the mail server. So I'll go ahead and enter in 2 of these addresses, and then I'll show you what it looks like when we're all finished up. So the important thing to keep in mind with MX record changes, you can make the configuration, you can tell the server that there's going to be a change, but it may take some time for that server to refresh those settings. So in the meantime, there's not a lot of potential for missed mail, but if there is an instance where there's going to be a mail that's not going to come through, it would be during this time. So I'd highly recommend doing the MX record changes probably in the evening hours to just sort of potentially avoid any mishaps during your business day. So I've entered in both of the MX record changes here, and then what I'm going to do is show you what it looks like when all 5 of the records are in place. And you can see here I've made a couple errors. I forgot to delete one of the MX records, and this last little guy down here, I need to change the TTL to half an hour. That's just to help refresh, make the refresh rate faster. And once we have all those, back on the Google Apps side of things, I'll just go ahead and scroll down to the bottom here and select that I've completed the steps. And then what this is going to do is basically tell Google servers to go out and check for those MX records. And it can take up to 48 hours to complete, but I have yet to see it take that long. So you'll want to go ahead and make those saves, and then when you get finished, come back to this page and just make sure that the email is being updated. After a period of time, this will change to active, just similar to like the calendar option there, and you should be all set with your MX record changes, and we'll go ahead with the next step. So after your email switches to active, go ahead and scroll over to Postini services. We're going to activate this application as well. This is sort of a separate application that is going to help filter out unwanted emails. Go ahead and agree to the terms of service, and this is going to initialize the Postini services for your account, and that's just going to show a registering notification. That should take maybe about an hour or so before it comes online. So just be wary of that. Go ahead and check back in about an hour, and this information should be, or the status should change to showing that there's some action required. So we have our action required change email delivery notification here. And what we can do is go ahead and click on that, head over and grab the additional MX record changes. This is the second set of MX record changes we're going to make. So let's go ahead and copy this information, put it in a safe place for now, switch browser areas, and open up our hosting provider. And when you log in there, you'll see that we have our previous MX records. We're going to go ahead and enter these new MX records sort of on top of or before the previously listed MX records. And there we have one already loaded up in there. And let's go ahead and do the second one. And go ahead and work through the four that are listed. And then once we get these finished and entered into the system, we'll take another look at the completed list of all of the MX records that we have in the system. So there we have our MX records that are all listed there, nice and pretty. We can go ahead and leave the other MX records in place for right now, and once the Postini service is activated, you can remove those other ones. It doesn't hurt to leave them in. And then head back over to your dashboard and you'll be able to click the I have changed the MX records link. And again, we're going to get an updated message, and we can take a little bit of time to make sure those MX records are changed. And then once they've changed, you'll see that the Postini service is now active. And there's a bunch of configurations that we can do or we could do in here, but the default settings are pretty good to begin with. So we'll go ahead and wrap up the configuration for now and move on to the next step. Our next step in the Google Apps Migration Workshop is to work on migration and take a look at third-party applications. And in order to facilitate that process, what we've done is we've built out a Google site specifically for migrating and this migration workshop. So what we have here is this website that we built using Google Sites and filled it with tons of content, not only around migration, but as well as training information, getting started information. So you can see here we have both Windows user and Mac user information. But we've really built this out because we needed a place to store all of this stuff. It wasn't really working, it wasn't really going to work if we put it on our website, and so what we did was we built out all of these different videos. You can see one here on the migration process for Outlook users. And we also built out using some screen capture tools, step-by-step process for configuring your environment, as well as some handy tips and tricks for setting up a particular application. For Mac users, it's by far the most complex and highly variable configuration, just because there are so many different applications that could potentially be used in an Apple or Mac environment. But we have covered, probably, I'd like to say like 90–95% of the most popular tools that are out there. We've also built out a training center for getting started with using Gmail. Some of this is our own content. Some of it is Google content that is readily available to the public as well. And so what we'd like to do is just open this up to people who have followed along with the workshop and let you use it, at your will. If you have any questions or whatnot, we will have our support portal open to you. So you could drop us a support case or leave a comment anywhere, either on the video, on our blog, on our website, or even inside the Google Apps Migration Workshop site. So go ahead and get set up for the workshop. There's a sign up field below, and we'll get going with the next step of migrating your contacts, email, and calendar events into Google Apps.